Ludwig van Beethoven is one of the greatest and most influential composers in the history of classical music. His life story is not only about musical genius, but also about extraordinary resilience in the face of personal tragedy and physical suffering. Born on December 17, 1770, in a small village near Bonn, Germany, Beethoven came from a humble and troubled family. His grandfather was a court conductor, and his father, Johann, a court tenor, was also his first music teacher. Johann was a harsh and demanding figure who pushed Beethoven to practice rigorously, often to the point of injury. Despite the hardships of his early life, Beethoven's musical talent was evident from a young age. At just 8 years old, he gave his first public piano performance. By age 11, he was performing in the Netherlands, and at 14, he had already composed and performed 3 piano sonatas. At 17, Beethoven traveled to Vienna to study with the renowned composer Mozart, but had to return home just weeks later to mourn the death of his beloved mother. This loss had a profound impact on his emotional life and musical expression. Beethoven returned to Vienna in 1792, where he would spend the rest of his life. Although Mozart had already passed away, Beethoven found a musical environment that allowed him to flourish. He soon became a pivotal figure in the transition between the classical and romantic periods in Western music. His works challenged traditional forms and brought deep emotional depth and innovation to the genre. Throughout his life, Beethoven faced numerous health challenges. In 1819, he became completely deaf, an unimaginable fate for a musician. Later, he began to lose his eyesight, developed gout, suffered from cirrhosis of the liver, and eventually dealt with pneumonia and full-body edema. In 1826 alone, he underwent 4 painful surgeries. Despite all this, Beethoven continued to compose, pushing through the limitations of his body with an unbreakable will. His most famous compositions include 9 symphonies, many of which are considered masterpieces. Symphony No. 3, Eroica, originally dedicated to Napoleon, was later changed when Napoleon declared himself emperor. This piece is known for its revolutionary spirit and powerful themes. Symphony No. 6, Pastoral, reflects Beethoven's deep love for nature and rural life. Other iconic works include the Moonlight Sonata, the Spring Sonata, and Symphony No. 9, whose final movement features the choral piece Ode to Joy, a tribute to universal brotherhood and one of the most powerful expressions of hope in all of music. Beethoven's music was not only technically brilliant, but also philosophically profound. He believed that music should serve all people, not just the aristocracy or elite. In his words, music is a cultural treasure for humanity. It is not for the courts or for any one class. It must serve the people. This democratic ideal in his art made him a revolutionary figure not just in music, but in society. Despite his fame, the last years of Beethoven's life were marked by solitude and despair. His deafness isolated him from society. In a letter, he wrote, "For 2 years I have avoided social gatherings." He struggled with the emotional toll of being unable to communicate easily and had to abandon his dream of marriage and family life. Once a sociable and stylish figure, Beethoven gradually withdrew from the world, finding solace only in his compositions. Though deafness was a devastating blow, Beethoven tried to hide his condition for as long as possible. He trained himself to read lips and facial expressions to understand others. But eventually, he had to admit the truth, both personally and artistically. In 1806, he wrote, "Let my deafness no longer be a secret, even in my art." Even in extreme pain and isolation, Beethoven continued to compose. He left behind a legacy of 135 compositions across various genres: opera, ballet, symphonies, chamber music, choral works, sonatas, overtures, vocal pieces, and even musical settings of poetry. Although the number of works may seem modest compared to some, each is meticulously crafted and of enduring artistic value. Beethoven died on March 26, 1827, at the age of 57, after a long battle with multiple illnesses. Remarkably, there were no traces of painkillers in his system, suggesting he endured intense suffering with incredible fortitude. Later studies revealed that his body contained dangerously high levels of lead, up to 100 times the normal amount, which may have been the true cause of his death. His funeral was attended by tens of thousands of admirers, including fellow composers like Franz Schubert and renowned musicians such as the pianist and actress Anna Mildred-Hauptmann. Initially buried in Vienna's Waring Cemetery, his remains were moved in 1888 to the prestigious Zentralfriedhof, Central Cemetery, where his grave is marked simply by a single word: Beethoven. His funeral was attended by tens of thousands of admirers, including fellow composers like Franz Schubert and renowned musicians such as the pianist and actress Anna Mildred-Hauptmann. Initially buried in Vienna's Waring Cemetery, his remains were moved in 1888 to the prestigious Zentralfriedhof, Central Cemetery, where his grave is marked simply by a single word: Beethoven.